Hey, gang, feels like we just got one of these, but hey, February's a short month, right? Let's get right into it. So 4.2, I believe, is in wider PTU right now, so a lot of this stuff might be relevant quicker than we think. And since there's a lot to get through, let me not bury the lead anymore. Let's just get right into it. So this one's pretty loaded, but some sections, as usual, have more info in them than others. Let's just go down the list. Here's some of the highlights that popped my eyes out. So quick aside, if you saw the vid on my hopes and dreams for this year, which actually came before they said they were going to focus on stability, which again, I wholly support, AI and better NPC interactions was something I was looking forward to, or at least it was going to eyeball as to whether server meshing was doing the Lord's work or not. And lo and behold, it looks like they're focusing on that. Oh, and I do have a little bit of a spoiler here, so you have about 5 seconds to click ahead. Good? Okay, leaks, which I usually try to avoid, especially on this channel, but also personally. This one's everywhere right now because it's in the 4.2 build, but it looks like the next mission giver is going to be a Banu. So that's pretty exciting. So just keep that in mind, that we're going to be getting our first alien pretty damn soon, and that all these AI things I'm going to be talking about in the next couple little sections here, hopefully all apply to that mission giver. Okay. Out of spoiler zone, AI content. 2 big things here. Well, 3, I guess. The first is a focus on NPCs and the LZs, which makes sense since that'll be the first NPCs we're likely to interact with in the game. Just making them run smoother and more reliably and more realistically, that's all really good. The second thing is a focus on new character prototype, but they don't really let us know what that is in the description here. It involves design, environment, the economy teams though, so who knows? Let's hear your best guess. I'm hoping this NPCs that fly around in the verse on industrial jobs, so non-combat NPCs that kind of fill in the traffic around the verse, just slam back that gallon of hopium, okay? And the third and final thing was a focus on dog fighting NPCs. So I'm guessing that's probably baking in the different skill levels of combatants that they've been talking about for a while. Because, I mean, we've already got dog fighting NPCs and they're all kind of uniform. The eventual goal is to make them so that they're more varied. So you're going to run into guys that are bad and you're going to run into guys that are elite. And you might have like everything in between on a bell curve. Maybe? A lot of stuff jammed in here, but it seems it's mostly focused on combat reaction polishing, both for critters and NPCs, like people walking around. They're giving space cows the ability to redirect on a charge, for example. So that's terrifying. Also kind of cool. I think it might also apply to the Tarok, which is kind of a big bull critter that's apparently going to be dropping in at some point. It's also kind of terrifying when you apply it to critters that are scarier than the cows. Like, imagine Valakar being able to change its direction. They're also doing some Assassin's Creed style tells with the NPCs so that players can tell when an NPC sees or doesn't see them, which will be pretty important when they start implementing things like smuggling into the game, among other more obvious loops like stealth gameplay, stealth kills, that sort of thing. And then, in the spirit of stability, the rest was bug fixing and cleaning AI things, it seems. Again, this team seems to be zeroing in on ways to streamline and stabilize StarScript, which guides all the actions of NPCs and missions, I believe. But correct me in the down below bits if I'm wrong on that. I think StarScript is what happened to Tony Z's Quanta. But yeah, could be wrong. I think I remember that. But I'm old and I had to wake up an hour earlier this morning. Daylight savings. So here's a cool one. They're working on getting NPCs working in 0G. So those asteroid facilities could start getting a lot more interesting. Along the same vein, they're also working on NPCs navigating the planetary mesh. That thing that kind of locks them into buildings. We're already seeing parts of this in the enemies patrolling around bunkers and settlements, but in the future that might be pushed further out, or they might be able to pursue or hunt you down with a lot more freedom. That NPC bounty hunter might actually pursue you on the ground, and you could be in a lot more trouble than right now, where there aren't any NPC bounty hunters. And more than just enemies, this could be the stuff that starts allowing non-combat NPCs to move around the worlds they inhabit. And of course, they carved out some time for bug squashing and streamlining. You'll start to see a pattern here. New animations for the Copion and facial animations for upcoming release. I'm thinking that might be related to the new mission giver, if I had to guess, or they might have more than one new mission giver, but we know there's at least one since we're seeing it in 4.2, and those animations are going to be a little more unique than the ones on the humans. They created a new character, and I'm thinking maybe it's the big bull space cow, the Turok or whatever it'll be called. Maybe the Valakar, but I think we'll be finding out soon enough. They also worked on the Starwear stuff, which is all the new clothing and armor that'll be able to play nice together. So you'll be able to wear a helmet or a backpack or arm armor with your shirt and jeans and that sort of thing. Finally, they're working on 2 new stealth armors, which sound pretty cool, as well as new in-game reward armors. Think we saw some of these at SitCon, and they certainly look pretty far along. Of course, stealth armors won't really matter unless they bring in FPS scanning, so I imagine those two will probably be coming in hand-to-hand. Or hand-in-hand. Maybe both. This team also exists, and I'm actually mostly kidding. The bar season in Seattle was a blast, but community engagement in this fashion isn't really what I'm concerned with this game and this project, if we're being honest here. Yeah, so this was a big one. Let's break it down a little bit. Again, CIG is staying pretty loyal to their promise of focusing on shoring up stability and long-running bug fixes with quality of life stuff. Sounds like there was a focus on starting to dial in misfires. I'm guessing that is for the coming engineering loops and giving the devs tools to further dial in the misfire mechanic. In the same vein, future engineering play, I'm guessing that building up the room system, which is something they've been talking about for years. So again, this section is pretty beefy, but a big one was forming a strike team for the transport system refactor. They've built a bunch of tools to figure out why the damn thing breaks so often, so that's a good thing. They're going ahead with the new flight model, I'm guessing primarily to make it better in Atmo, but just trying to smooth it all out. Flight model, it mostly seems to be pretty good right now, or at least relatively a good spot. Things are a little slippery when you fly, but it's not bad. I actually flew the first part of 4.1 with the gravity assist turned off. I didn't realize that was a new setting, and it took a little getting used to. I kept thinking that decoupled was off or something like that. But yeah, it kind of made the experience a little more flying-y, if that makes sense, and kind of enjoyable. I did turn it off because there's a lot of times when I'm playing with other people that I need to be hovering stationary, and you can't really do that with the gravity assist turned off. Anyway, it sounds like they're really dialing it in, and that makes a lot of sense with Squadron 42 being imminent. I mean, the flight model for that game has to be more or less finalized. Other than that, it looks like they're still trucking ahead with base building and crafting, as they're building out the UI, blueprints, and resource crafting. Radar and scanning is kicking into gear, and I've had my eye on that one for a while. It'll be huge for both combat and exploration, and mining, and salvaging. It's kind of a big deal. And yeah, smashing out them thar bugs. Core gameplay team's been busy. All likely will be busy for the entire year because their fingers are in everything. This team is again following the same theme and going back and I guess backfilling older missions, bringing them up to modern standards. And of course, they worked on the Supply or Die event, which, well, it's fine. Tons of money, lots of multimillionaires being made, which now that I think about it, that probably means we'll be getting a wipe, but it also seems like some of the mistakes they've made in the past missions, standing in long lines and not working together as a team, it seems like they kind of hammered that out. That was exacerbated on this one because the lines were formed in armistice zones, so there's no way to remove someone camping a kiosk. So it kind of sounds like they're feeling out these events and seeing what works and what doesn't. Let me say that kiosks in armistice zones do not help the line problem. And it sounds like the rewards, these huge rewards that we were seeing for Supply or Die, were a test to see what higher rewards would do for balance. So I hope they got their answer on that one. So it sounds like the narrative team was focused on performance capture. I'm guessing on the new Banu mission giver. Oops, spoilers. I don't know, gang. I have listened to some of the Banu lines and I'm kind of getting Jar Jar Binks vibes. I really hope I'm wrong on that because right now the Banu are kind of one of my favorite races. And if they're Gungans, I'm going to have some issues. So is that anyone else heard those things? Is that just me or am I way off base? I don't know. Let me know. Otherwise, they worked on the newspaper splash page when you're loading in, which, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that. It's a good idea. It would be nice if there was a revolving version, like different splash pages that would pop up at random so you could kind of get more of a sense of what's going on in the verse. But for a first try, yeah, I'm whelmed. And then they did some bug smashing. Big focus on persistence for obvious reasons. And surprise, surprise, they're working on making things more robust and moving us towards dynamic server meshing, which will be huge. Ground fog and shadows. Sounds like they're putting some strong focus into the cloud tech, so keep an eye out for that. And I've already noticed in some of my drop-ins on 4.2 and even 4.1, the clouds are starting to look pretty good. It's not quite Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's not far off either. So tech design worked with the mission team and prepping items for scanning. So yeah, it sounds like scanning both FPS and otherwise is getting close, like for reals close. That and gameplay triggers, which sounds like a good thing for dynamic missions. Big thing here is working on user experience and starting to finalize their designs for individual manufacturers. And of course, they did some bug smushing. And VFX is just kind of plugging along, cleaning up old assets and building out new ones. And gang, that is it. Thanks for sticking this one out. Let me know what you think in the down below bits. Like and subscribe, all that junk, and catch me next time.